3, 2, 1.
My name is Crispin Ayimbono Imbi, and I'm from Ghana, West Africa.
All right, tell a little bit about how you got to Oklahoma.
Oh, how I got to Oklahoma. First of all, it's through the grace of God, and I was also like I used to run track in school and throw the javelin as well. And after high school, my dad was like, he spoke to his friend, and his friend said I can go write SAT. So I was like, what's SAT? Because after school, based on my academic strength, after whatever I studied and wrote my final exam, I dumped everything in high school. So I couldn't remember most of the things. So when my dad said we're gonna write an exam, I was like, whoa, I have to learn everything again. So the long story short, I went to the SAT class. When the guy heard I was an athlete, he said, this makes it even easier for me to get a scholarship. So we created an account, an athletic account with NCSA. And then from there, I got recruited by several coaches. Myself and my dad, we applied to over 300 schools. And USAO, University of Science and Art of Oklahoma, here in Chickasha, Oklahoma, reached out to me and they recruited me. It took me about 4 years to get here. I got denied several times. I went to about 3 different countries in an attempt to get my visa. And then by the grace of God, I finally got here in August 2023.
What are kind of your personal goals here in being in America? Now that you're in America, what are kind of some of your personal goals while you're here?
Well, for my personal goals, I'll say to give a Sunday school answer, I'll say do the will of God, and then to like limit it to myself, I'll say graduate with a good GPA, find a good job where I can help my family, and make everyone who has invested in me since I arrived here proud, and also excel in my sports because for some reason I've not been able to stay healthy.
What was kind of your biggest fears before you came? To, like when you knew you were coming to America, but you weren't here yet. What's kind of your biggest fear on coming to this part of the world?
Some of my biggest fears, I'll say number one, coming to an unknown place, knowing nobody, and just being here by myself. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know where to go. I've never experienced winter. I didn't know what food to expect. I didn't know what kind of reception to expect. But after I arrived here, everyone has been nice to me since day one. The adaptation just like naturally flowed. I got used to the food, but I just don't like the winter because it's too cold and it's not fun.
What are some of the biggest cultural adjustments you've had to make coming to America? Because it's very different.
Yeah, yeah. It's very, very different. So for cultural wise, I'll say food, because eating jollof rice and banku and kinky and coming over here seeing like pizza, cornbread, and all those other wonderful foods you guys have here was kind of challenging for me. And another thing is the weather. Like I said, I just don't like the winter. It's just so awkward because back home, the coolest it can be is 57. That's the coolest it has ever been in Ghana. And another thing would be the language, like the accent, because whenever I arrived, my first class I took college writing. Whenever my professor was talking, I didn't really understand what he was saying. And when I write my essays, it was just not making sense to him. But I've kind of adapted now.
What's your favorite kind of part of American culture that you have come across? Like, what's your favorite thing about American culture?
My favorite part of American culture, which I don't know if it's a culture, but I'll just admire, love the way the family support their own. Like when it comes to their kids, when they go cheer them on in a football game. And another thing is most of the parents have been around listening to their kids. They give you an opportunity to like say what you want. Another cultural difference that really hits me is how you guys are so into sports. You know, like OKC is playing, and almost everyone is in an OKC shirt, or like Oklahoma Sooners or like OSU is playing, then everybody's like, yo, that's so cool. And the religious culture too. I love the way the Christians over here are so like devoted into Christ. They do whatever they can to make sure the whole system of Christianity works. The outrage, I've seen like places like Salvation Army, even Michigan Avenue. When I first heard they had a clothing closet, I was like, wow. So those kind of like cultural changes.
How do you deal with kind of like homesickness, or what is called like cultural fatigue, like things being so different? Like how do you kind of deal with that to kind of like help your mental health and like your spiritualness during it being so different?
If I'm being honest, God, because pray to God, ask God to guide me. And then secondly, family and connections. Like for the Willoughby family, they know I tell them everything they need to know, or everything I tell them everything. And one thing I like about them is they always try to find a solution for you. They always try to make you feel comfortable. They always try to make you feel welcome. There are some other people I also talk to, and it's just the same. So I'll say a family support system, which I'm fortunate to have here.
How has it been like coming in and sharing your faith with people here, especially not being from America, coming into this American culture? How's that similar to where Ghana is? How's it different? And have you faced any like obstacles while you're kind of doing that?
For my faith-wise as a Christian?
Yeah, and like sharing it with people and kind of being here, kind of doing kind of missionary-ish work in this part of the world.
Yeah, so that's a very good question. My first few weeks or months here in the US, it was strange because like I said, the worship system, the songs, like church being for just an hour and 30 minutes. In Ghana, we stay in church for like 6 hours, 8 hours in church on Sundays. And so I had to adapt to all those things. And then the prayer too, because it was kind of different, because in Africa we have a prayers time, we have a worship time, we have a praise time, we have a deliverance time, and what have you. So it was kind of like strange, like, or kind of difficult adjusting in the like in my early days here, but it's way better now.
How's it been like sharing your faith with people here in America compared, or even if just here in America, and then compared to Ghana?
Yeah, sharing my faith with people here in America, it became very easy, or kind of, it became easier when I lived the lifestyle of being a Christian and being Christ-like. Because most people will be like, wow, anytime I see you, I see the joy of Christ in you. Anytime I see you, I see like I just feel some energy in you. So what's the secret? And then I get the opportunity to tell them about Christ, and then I get the opportunity to tell them about how devoted I am as a Christian and the benefits I get from that. And if they are not Christians, I just tell them like, yo, you're missing a lot. You need to join the fan base. And my accent, because I remember they made me preach at a BCM, my BCM director Joseph Quaco, and Sister Sarah, who is behind the camera. I know you don't see her, but like she gave me a donkey costume I wore because I preached about Balaam and the donkey. And the accent was challenging because sometimes like what I'm trying to deliver is not actually what they hear. But one thing I like is after that they'll come to you and be like, hey, what were you trying to say, and all those things. So it's still a process we're working on. And like I said earlier, the Willoughby family are like a church family. So if I face challenges like that, whenever I come to them, they give me some good options.